Hello, you silly goons and goobers. I'm back. I have been neglecting this channel for far too long. I know I posted a few weeks ago, but it's been a long time since I had a consistent posting schedule and since I was keeping you guys in the loop and updated on everything I plan on doing. But I'm back now. I moved countries. It's been a lot of hectic chaos in my life, but now I'm a little bit more settled and I'm ready to start posting again. So to give you an idea of what the channel's gonna look like moving forward, we're gonna have every week a weekly update just like I'm gonna do today, and then there's gonna be one other video per week, sometimes two, depending on how feisty I'm feeling. And those will be about more specific topics and things I wanna talk about that are not something I can include in a weekly update. I had been doing this weekly update on a different channel for a long time, the Fantasy and Other Stuff podcast, and I'm actually going to continue posting the podcast in MP3 form, like on Spotify and whatnot, but the weekly updates are moving to this channel. I was really confused about exactly what I wanted to do with all of my content on YouTube for a long time, but I'm just consolidating, okay? We're doing everything on here. So yeah, expect 2 to 3 videos per week moving forward on this channel, and you can hold me accountable, okay? I'm gonna do it this time. But anyways, without further preamble, let's hop straight into the first ever weekly update on this channel. Like I said, I moved countries, so it's been pretty chaotic the past couple weeks, but I did read 2 Cradle books in the past 2 weeks. I read Book 7, Uncrowned, and Book 8, Wintersteel, and I loved both of them. This is like a tournament arc in this series, and I am a sucker for tournament arcs in any way, shape, or form. It's very anime-esque, and you know, that's kind of the whole point of the series, is it's very much shonen anime in book form. This just has like the best fights in the series so far, these past 2 books, and it also has some of my favorite like upgrades and like power-up moments, which is just something this series has been good at from the very beginning. I mean, they're not like groundbreaking, jaw-dropping stuff that's like rewriting the rules, you know? They're pretty basic books and they're all pretty short and fast-paced, but the fact that they're as tight and as controlled as they are as a self-published author, I mean, that's crazy. I kind of get the feeling that Will White is sort of in the Brandon Sanderson camp of like, it's like compulsory writing, like he's just doing it all the time and he just can't stop. Because otherwise, how the hell are you going to put out 12 books in 6 years in one series? He was writing other stuff at the time. That's fucking insane. I don't know how that's even possible. Actually, I think the Brandon Sanderson comparison is pretty apt because Will White also has very plain prose, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, he's just very straightforward to the point with what he's describing and what he's showing you. It's not ever very flowery. It's nothing that's going to be like confusing to read. It's very clear and straightforward writing, and I think that when you can write like that effectively, you just fly through manuscripts. At least that's my assumption. I don't know their process, but I have a feeling that like they have their writing style, and since it's so straight to the point, they just need to get it out, and then it's like not much needs to change after that, you know? I could be wrong, I don't know, but I love the Cradle series. I love the powers that he's introduced. It's got a very unique magic system. They use this stuff called Madra, which comes from like these cores that exist within their soul, and they can like put stuff into their soul, and they can like create stuff out of dead matter from other souls, and it's really complex actually, but it's a really unique and interesting system that's easy to grasp once you have all the parts, and that makes the fight so much more interesting because he utilizes like all these different things that characters can use, and I think that's really fun. Also, the characters themselves are just becoming so interesting. They all start out pretty basic. They have their own, you know, motivations and whatnot, but they're all pretty not surface level, but they're not flat. They're just one-dimensional almost. Like they have the one thing that they're going after, the one thing that defines them, but a lot of them are becoming a lot more fleshed out, and their relationships with each other have become so compelling. In particular, between who are pretty much the 2 main characters. I mean, there's one real main character, but there's like a secondary main character. Their relationship with each other is like one of my favorite relationships I've ever read. I'm like actually super invested in the romantic aspect of it. But anyways, that's enough about Cradle. I also started reading Nona the Ninth, which is the sequel to Gideon the Ninth and Harrow the Ninth. This is the newest book in the Locked Tomb series, and I'm liking it. I don't know if I'm loving it. I am definitely enjoying it quite a bit more than I was enjoying Gideon when I was reading Gideon, but I am not liking it as much as I was liking Harrow the Ninth. I think my reason for this is that it's another case of like, there's a lot of really cool shit in this story. There's a lot of really cool shit in this world, and we are so removed from all of it through the main character's perspective in this book particularly. Like, we don't see any of the cool necromancy shit. We don't see any of the stuff that's going on that's like actually super important. We're like getting secondhand information through the eyes of someone who's very naive and also just doesn't see a lot of the stuff happening in the first place, just hears about it. And it makes for an interesting narrative choice, but I wish that we were getting the more exciting parts of the story. And I'm enjoying the main character a lot. Like, they have a very unique perspective. Like, she has the mind of a child, and I don't exactly know why yet. That's not information that's been revealed to me. But seeing things through her eyes is fascinating because she's such an interesting perspective and she's so different than the other voices that we've had in this series so far. But it also means that we aren't getting all of the cool shit. The reason I liked the last book so much is that you were like in the mind of a character that was doing all sorts of really cool stuff all the time. And you were like plugged in to the most important parts of the story. And now I feel like I'm a step removed from them. And since I'm already like confused about what's going on, which is definitely intentional, and I'm okay with being confused in this story. That's kind of part of the experience, is being confused. If everything was spoon-fed to you, it wouldn't be nearly as interesting. But since I'm already a step removed, and then I'm having the story told through the eyes of someone who is also kind of a step removed from reality, I feel like this level of disconnect from like the parts of the story that I'm actually really interested in. Doesn't mean I'm not enjoying it though. I am greatly enjoying this book, and I'm actually enjoying it the further and further I get into it. It's not a case of like I'm hitting the middle and all of a sudden I'm bored. In fact, I'm way more invested now than I was in like the first 20 to 30%. And I'm excited to see where it goes because I know that the payoff is going to be great. The payoff in all three, or the first two books, have been fantastic. So I'm assuming that the payoff in this book is probably also going to be fantastic. Genuinely, if you have any interest, I think you should check out the Locked Tomb series. It's definitely a hurdle to get over. The writing style is very jarring. The narrative choices are very jarring. Everything about this series is meant to kind of put you on edge a little bit, to keep you off balance, because you're not supposed to really know what's going on at any point. And then she feeds you the information just slowly. She spoon feeds it to you over time, and at the end, everything kind of comes crashing down. It's sort of like Brandon Sanderson's writing, where there's like a Sanderlanche at the end, except for it's intensely more confusing than that. I do think that the author, Tamsin Muir, I think I'm saying her name wrong. I do think she's a genius. I think she's an absolute genius. She has some of the most vivid imagery in her writing that I have ever encountered, but it is always just like a little bit off-putting. The way she describes things, the way that she says things, it's so confusing all the time. But then like once you get over the hump of like being okay with being confused and being okay with like not getting the full picture pretty much on anything, you start to get this just sinking into the story, sinking into the imagery she's giving you, sinking into the moods and the vibes that she's giving you. And it all kind of comes to life in its own way. And I really enjoy that. It's a really difficult feeling to explain. You just have to experience it yourself. And it's definitely not for everyone. And I think a lot of people don't ever get to that point, and I understand why. I just think it's a fascinating dissection of fantasy subgenres that have kind of been patched together to create their own thing. This is the most unique story I have ever read, and I think that if you're a fantasy fan, especially if you're a well-read fantasy fan, this is something worth checking out solely for the fact that it's going to surprise you, and it's going to be something fresh and new that you haven't experienced before. I am going to make a whole video talking about whether or not I think you should read The Locked Tomb, and I'll give a lot more reasoning for why I'm saying that in that video. But if you're watching this right now and you're curious, I do think that it's worth checking out. But it's not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. I am so excited because once I finish this book, I'm going to start reading Red Country by Joe Abercrombie. And once I'm done with that, I think I'm reading either Throne of Glass or I'm going to start Malice by John Gwynne. I'm starting both of those series at the end of this month or beginning of next month. And I'm also, I think, between those books, I think I'm going to read Sword of Kaigen. I'm so excited to read that book. And I think on top of that, I'm going to read The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. Those are like all the top books on my TBR right now, is to start The Faithful and the Fallen, start Throne of Glass, continue Joe Abercrombie. I can't wait to read the Age of Madness trilogy. That's happening by the end of the year. I'm going to be totally caught up on Joe Abercrombie's books. But I do want to hit up some standalones, so Sword of Kaigen is up there. I don't know. I'm just excited to get back into some more like classic high fantasy. So I think that Malice is the one I'm most excited for. I mean, apart from Abercrombie's work. I just want something that's like a little more familiar in terms of the tropes and the story it's telling, because I'm in a new place right now. I'm experiencing all sorts of new things, and I want my reading to be more of like a comfort thing for me right now. And so I'm liking this Locked Tomb book, but I'm more excited to get into something that I'm a little more familiar with already in terms of like the tropes and stuff that it's using. And as it stands, the 2 series that I want to finish before the end of the year is The Age of Madness, so just the rest of Joe Abercrombie's first Law World, and I think I'm going to try and finish Cradle by the end of the year. I have 4 books left in it. That may or may not happen. I'm going to try, but I am trying to prioritize getting some more new stuff in my schedule right now, because I'm kind of getting burnt out on a couple of the series I've been reading. I want to start Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. I want to get back into the realm of the Elderlings. That's probably going to happen before the end of the year too. But yeah, I'm probably going to finish Nona the Ninth this weekend, so next week you can expect an update on Red Country, and I'm probably going to start a couple of other things too. I'm going to start getting back into the habit of reading several books at once, because I find that I'm getting kind of burnt out on books about halfway through, and not in like a bad way, not in a way that's like ruining my experience with them, but I reach a point where I'm like, I want to read something new, and I force myself to keep going, which is not always the best way to handle a book. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it just kind of makes you bitter about the things you don't like in it, you know? And also, I started reading Vagabond. I totally forgot about that because I'm only 2 chapters in, but I might be giving you guys updates on that. I don't know how much I want to read a manga right now, but you'll probably get updates on that because I was enjoying it. The first couple chapters were pretty good. Anyways, that will do it for the first ever weekly update on my main channel. You can expect more of these soon. I'm excited to be posting on this channel again, guys. It's been a while since I was consistent on here, but I really love posting on YouTube. I've just been, for a long time, a little bit stressed about posting. Like, I felt like I needed to be, like, having the best ideas and, like, really working my ass off to put out high-quality videos. But in reality, I enjoy doing stuff like this. I enjoy just, like, talking at a camera, sharing my thoughts on things, and, like, just talking about books. That's really what I want to do. Anyways, I am just excited to be back. I'm excited to be posting on here again. So I will see you in the next video, and until then, I hope you're happy and healthy. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.